Hi everyone. In this lecture we are going to continue talking about pseudo classes. So first off, let's go ahead and let's come up with some HTML within which we can practice some CSS. I'm going to create a section, okay, if I can spell it better. Within the section I'm going to have one h1 that is going to say front end web development. So development, there we go. I'm going to create a paragraph and I'm going to say lorem 150. There we go. Let's save that. This is our very first section, and I'm going to create another section as well here. You know what? I'm going to create quite a few more sections here. So the second one is going to say backend web development. Let's say section, and this is going to have an h2. It's going to say backend web development, and we're going to have a paragraph lorem 150. Let's save that. Now let's create another section. Now within this section I want to create another paragraph as well, but just some lorem. Let's save that and let's remove the first backward slash. There we go. Now in the next one I'm going to create one title with two paragraphs as well. So I'm just going to copy this one and I'm going to put it right here. Let's just collapse this one. So what should be the title of this one? I'm going to say full stack web development. We have one paragraph, we have the second paragraph, and finally the final section is going to have one title. So that's going to be an h2. We're going to say mobile web development, mobile app development, and let's just provide some text as well as an anchor element. The href is going to be hash. Now when you provided the number sign, when you click on this link, it is not going to take you anywhere. It's going to take you to the page to the home page of your website. So where is the home page for us? For now, the home page is 27.pseudoclasses under pseudo-classes 2.html. So it's going to take you there. And I'm going to say more. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. So where is... Okay, I should write more in here. So there is actually some content. Now when you come here on the bottom right corner, you can see that there is actually a number sign added after the HTML. So if you just click there, you're going to be redirected to the same page. And here is the number sign. There we go. So we're done with our HTML. Let's jump into CSS. Now in this specific lecture, what I want to do is I want to cover one other different category of pseudo elements than the one that we covered in our previous lecture, and that is if you want to select an element by a unique selector. So far we have talked about selecting HTML elements with their element name, or like that was the simple selector category. We have also talked about selecting HTML elements using their IDs and their classes. Now, all these three methods, they belong to simple selectors. Now we are talking about pseudo-class selectors, right? So pseudo-classes, they can also be called pseudo-class selectors because you are selecting either a special state of an element or either a special element or an element in a special way. So that's why they're actually selectors as well. So I'm going to grab this main and I'm going to grab all the color of the text and I'm going to set it to white. So now you can't see anything, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grab this element section. Now as many styles that as I apply in here, these styles will be applied on all of the sections that I have within my web page because I'm selecting them universally using their element name. Now if I want any of the sections to have a different style, I need to select that section, because the sections, they don't have any IDs and classes. It's going to be difficult for me to select them individually and style them individually. That's where pseudo classes come into play. I'm going to add some padding of 25 pixels for all of the sections. Now, let's say you want to select this first section. So I'm going to collapse all these sections so all of them are on top of each other. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sections. Let's say you want to grab this section, which is the first child within its container. So this section, this one, it is the first child within the container element of main. So the way that we could select this is we are going to provide a colon. Hence, we are indicating that we are about to use a pseudo class, and that the pseudo class is going to be the first child. So the first child pseudo class is going to select all the sections that are the first element within their containers. Because we only have one container element here, that is main, and it has only one section, that is the first child. Let's say you had 2 more main elements, then it would have selected those 2 as well. It's going to select that and it's going to say background color. Let's put it to 222831. Let's save that. There we go. So this is our very first section. We know that it is front-end web development. Just to make sure you understand my point better, if we had another main element, which is not a good practice, but let's just say we had another main element and we had another section there, and that is going to be section in another main element. Let's save that. So where is that going to be? There we go. Because this section is the first child within its container, this pseudo class actually applies on that as well. So even if you have 100 containers, and within all of them you have section as the first child, it doesn't matter what the rest of the children look like, what kind of elements they are. We just care about the first child. If the first child is section, this selector is going to select all of them. Just to make sure that you understand how this works. So it is looking throughout our HTML page and it is selecting a section. And the qualification for that section is if it is the first child within its container. Keep in mind, all HTML elements, they are ultimately within a container. Even if you just provide them like casually, they are within the container of the body. So the body has only one child, and that is the main element. There we go. And the main element is the first child of the body. So you're always going to end up with this parent-child relationship when it comes to HTML and CSS. So it's a good idea to master it right from the start, so you can create better websites. Now, let's say we want to grab the second section. Yes, for that we do have another pseudo class as well. Now we have nth child pseudo class. Again, you need to provide the colon for the pseudo classes. So I'm going to say nth child. Now in here you could pass 1, that is going to grab the first child. You could pass 2, it is going to grab the second child. You could pass 100, it is going to grab the 100th child. Now if I pass in 2 and if I just open up curly braces, what does that mean? What kind of section are we actually selecting at this point? We are selecting the kind of section that are the second child of their container. So if a container only has one element, one section element, like our previous container, main, where it had only one element, that element would not have been selected with this, because that is the first element. Whereas the second element, it doesn't have a second element, then the selector is going to move on towards the end of our HTML file. If there is nothing else, it's just going to apply the styles on the HTML elements that it has already found. If there are none, it's not going to do anything. So let's say background color 393. Oh, oops, 393, and I'm going to say E46. Let's save that. There we go. So we have front-end web development, back-end web development. There we go. Now let's grab the section that is the third child. So I'm just going to pass in 3. The concept works in the same way. Let's just provide it with a background color, a differentiating one, and I'm going to say OO, ADB 5. Let's save that. So we have front end, back end, full stack, and we know the fourth child is mobile app development. Now, you could say, if you want to select the fourth child, you could say nth child 4. And if you want to select the first child, you could use this nth child as well. There are pretty complicated ways that you can come up with this nth child, like n+2, 2n+1, where you select every alternative child and you apply the styles on them. It could become a very, very sophisticated way of selecting HTML elements, which we are not going to cover just yet. We are just understanding how CSS works. But keep in mind, this nth child selector, it opens up a whole realm of possibilities of how you can select HTML elements, how you can be very, very, very good at them. So you could do, for the first child, you could do nth child 1. For the last child, you could do nth child 4. But there is also another pseudo class, and that is last child. Keep in mind that this one is only going to select sections which are the last children of their specific container. And it is going to apply this background color. It is A8, D8, EA. Save that. There we go. So we have we have front end, back end, full stack, and then we have mobile app development. So that's it for this lecture. See you in the next one.